Wilson Morales from Black Women TV talking to Crystal Hayslett regarding her feature film debut in Will Packer's Praise This. How's it going?
Amazing. How are you doing, Wilson? Good to see you.
Good. Now, obviously, sometimes TV and film can be church and state. So for those who don't watch you on a TV show, they're just getting a glimpse of you on on screen in a film, even though it's playing on Peacock. How did you go about landing the role?
Well, I got a call from the director and the casting director. Actually, three people called me. Tina Gordon, the director, executive producer Shayla Cowan, and the casting director George Pierre. They all called me and said they wanted me to put this on tape. They felt like I was the perfect person for Natalie, so I auditioned for it and I got the role.
Mm-hmm. Now, did you know singing was required? Are you a natural born singer?
I did have to sing for the audition, and yes, I've been singing since I was a kid, so I was ready for that.
So you're playing the role of Natalie. How would you best describe her?
Natalie she's not your typical church first lady. She's not judgy. She's still kind of hip. She has a little ratchet side to her. She you know how some people say, all right, now I haven't been saved all my life. Like I'll get with you. Natalie is that person. So
Mm-hmm.
she's saved and she's in the church, but she's very relatable. She's someone that the kids can relate to, and she's not so saved that she can't see herself in other people.
Mm-hmm. Now, when you were part of the film, did you want to sing any of the other songs, or were you just like, nah, I got this one?
Oh, well, I didn't have the option, but I mean, listening to the soundtrack is insane. It's so good. I listen to it all the time in my car when I'm driving and in the house too. It's such a good soundtrack. But I love the song that they chose for me. I absolutely love it.
Now, you're working with Tina Gordon. What are you getting from her direction that helps you as an actress going forward?
You know what, Tina, first of all, just she's just amazing. Tina was one of the, like, I just love her to death. And to be able to work with her and see her in her element and as a director was really a lot of fun. But one thing I will take from Tina is just listening to the director, following direction, and having fun, because she just wanted us to have fun while we were doing it. So that's definitely something I think a lot of times actors kind of lose sight of, is like you
Mhm.
still want to have fun with it.
Now, the cast is enormous. It's a big ensemble. So, was there a period of time when you worked with the cast offset just to get to know each other? Sometimes people do a film and they do their part and they go home. But was this something different?
You know what? Yeah, like honestly, I was so busy last summer when we filmed this. A lot of times when I wasn't working, I was busy doing other things. But on set, even like Chloe, Drewski, Mac, we all like developed our own friendship outside of work. So yeah.
How different is it shooting a film as opposed to your normal day job?
Um, you know what? Well, with the way I shoot at Tyler Perry Studios, we shoot for like 2 weeks. So like I get everything done and then I have time to pursue other things. With shooting Praise This, it took about 3 months. So that was a little different. We moved at a much slower
Wow.
pace. Yeah. So it was a lot slower than what I'm used to. But it gave me time to really soak it all in and really enjoy the moment.
Now, when you think about it now, you've done your Tyler Perry show. You now got your first film under the belt.
Mhm.
Are there other things you want to go out for?
Yes, there are. I would love to do more comedies. I would love to do some action movies. I would love to do voiceovers for Disney and musicals for Disney, and even maybe on Broadway as well. Like I have so many things that I want to do.
But in the meantime, you have a day job. So where are we now with Fatima as people are, what are we at now? I think episode 6.
Yes, seven was it? Wait, 6 and 7 or 7 and 8?
Yeah, I
Um,
lost track, to be
I know
honest.
we're at the well, maybe it was 9 and 10 because we're at the is 9 and 10. We're actually at the mid-season finale. And I woke up on Instagram and people were in their feelings about what's happening. But Zach and Fatima are going through it right now.
Yeah,
We are
yeah.
going through it.
You can never tell what's going on because blink, and because there's 2 episodes that air,
Mhm.
it's like, okay, oh, I missed this part, you have to go back, you know
Yes.
so
Mhm.
you're in season 2 now. Sometimes I talk to actors and it's like it takes a while before they get comfortable in the character they're playing, even though you started this character on Sisters.
Mhm.
When you do a season 1, you have to wait till you get renewed before you feel like, okay, now this character is me,
Yeah,
now it's a character I'm playing. How
ab-
long did it take for you before you said, okay, I'm into this character now, even though it started off on another show?
Yeah, you know what? It was season 2 of Sisters that I finally found Fatima's voice. I think it was a little hard because Fatima really didn't have a lot going on in season 1. So I really didn't have a lot to dig from. I was like, she was a secretary to Andy, and really everything that I did revolved around Andy. It was like, hey, you have a conference call, or there's a meeting here. It was no real meat to it to Fatima. Season 2 is when it all came together, and I was able to find her voice. And by season 3, it was like I could step right into Fatima with no problem.
And then the chemistry, between you and your co-stars, how's that going along? Because now that, obviously, even though, as you mentioned, you're shooting for 2 weeks, it's still a whole season.
It's still a whole season. Yeah, we spend a lot of time together when we are filming because we have a lot of material we have to learn. We all live in different places. So once we're all in Atlanta, it's like, all right, guys, let's get to it. Let's get these lines down. We're together pretty much 24/7 during those 2 weeks. And then outside of that, like I have relationships with some of the castmates outside of work as well. So it's always fun to catch up with people when the mayhem is over.
I think about your journey, and the first thing that comes to mind is Lee Daniels, because Lee Daniels started off in a career like you did. They were working behind the scenes, costumes, hair, and all that. And they worked their way up into something that they wanted to do different.
Yeah.
You worked your way up working behind the scenes, then you got on the scene, and now you've got your first film. And so we have still yet to see what more you can do. But you've gotten so far in a less amount of time than the average. I want to know what the average person is, or the average Black person, maybe that. So what would you say has been so far the glory in the transition of going from one place to the other?
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that it took 10 years for this all to come to fruition. I moved to Atlanta in 2009. I was pursuing music and acting up until 2015 when I started styling Tyler and costume designing. I started working at the studio in 2012, but I was still actively pursuing my music and actively auditioning. So what you see that seems like happened so fast really was years of no's and years of just pushing through and knowing that this is for me and not giving up on that.
That begs the question, like, if we're into music and acting, how'd you get a costume designer?
Yeah. So I had a friend who was styling me at the time for my music, and I needed a job. And she said, Crystal, you have a knack for fashion. Why don't you just come work in the costume department? And she said, we have a few PA positions that we're interviewing for. You should come interview. So my thing is, I always like to surround myself around what I'm trying to do. If I'm trying to act, what better place to work than a movie studio, So I ended up interviewing for the job, got the job, and I just kept getting promoted. And it was that was even a fast pace. I worked there for like 2 or 3 months and got promoted to background costumer from PA. And then from background costumer, I did that for a full year. And then I got promoted to set costumer, where I was dressing the actors. And then from there, that's when Mr. Perry took a liking to me. And he was like, this girl is cool. And I had left the studio to work on another film outside of Tyler Perry Studios, and got the call saying that he wanted me to be the costume designer. So that's kind of how all that transitioned. And then I was like, is this what I want to do? Because I'm still auditioning. I'm starting to get callbacks at this time. And I was at a crossroads, like, do I stop auditioning and go dedicate my life? Because working at Tyler Perry Studios is a complete dedication. Do I dedicate my life to this, or do I keep pushing? And I decided to go the other route and work at the studio and be the costume designer, and then end up being his stylist as well for 5 years, and didn't audition for anything.
Wow. So now that you're an actress and you've got a series and you've been in a movie, and for people who don't know your background, is there a lot more appreciation for people behind the scenes? Like, how are you now with the people who do your stuff? Do you have your own person, or is it like you don't mind if it's somebody new that you haven't met?
It varies from each set. Some sets will allow you to bring your own person or choose who you want to work with. I do have that privilege at Tyler Perry Studios. They allow me to pretty much work with like the hair people that I like working with and the makeup person that I like working with. Other sets, you just gotta trust that the person that you're with is gonna let you collaborate, because we like men getting a haircut. You're just not gonna let anybody cut your hair. You're gonna be like, okay, I want, if you somebody new, you're gonna say, okay, can you make sure you keep this like this because you have so when it comes to like a woman in our makeup and our face and our hair, there's certain things that we're very particular about. So I've been very lucky to come across makeup artists and hairstylists and costumers and costume designers that know my body, they know my face, they are cool with collaborating. They don't take it personal when I say, hey, can you do my nose a little more, or can I get a little more contour over here? They're like, yeah, it's cool. So sometimes, because I do my hair and makeup too myself, so I know exactly what I like. And
You've got a partnership going on right now, right? In
yes,
regards to makeup.
yes, with Clinique and Estee Lauder. Yeah, I did a Black History Month campaign with them called Queen Me, and it's funny because when I was in junior high school, the first 2 pimples that popped up on my face, my mother said, we're taking you to the Clinique counter and we'll get you on the 3-step program because I want you to have clear skin. And I started that skincare regimen at a very young age. And years later, here I am working with them. So it's a full circle moment, and I'm super grateful for it.
Going back to Praise This, are you a church lady?
I am, honey. I'm in church every Sunday when I'm in town. Yes. I love church. I love God. I love Jesus, all the things. And as I've grown, I've developed a much closer relationship with God. And my prayer every day is that whoever I come in contact with, they see his light through me.
Mhm. I always say that, right now, since the pandemic and since the growth of streaming services, there's a lot more product out there, whether it's on streaming, cable, network, if you choose to go to the movie theaters,
Yeah.
There's a lot of Black talent out there, which is great because people are
Yeah.
working. But now it makes it harder to promote because it doesn't matter how good or not good some of these programs are. You got to get people to watch it in order to talk about it.
Right.
So
That's
whether they're watching Zatima or watching their Praise This, you know, how do you get people to watch Praise This? Especially, Peacock. I wouldn't say it's new, but since obviously they've got Bel Air and people got tuned in when they saw The Best Man, the final chapters. Now you've got another thing out there that folks of color can see it. Anybody can see it, to be honest with you. But what's your sell in terms of why people should go see Praise This? Besides the fact that it's Will Packer, and if you don't know the names, what's the sell of seeing the movie?
Yeah, you know what? For me, the sell of seeing the movie is you're gonna laugh. The world needs more laughter. The world needs some type of relationship with God. And I have no problem with different religions, but it's something that brings people together, brings families together so that you can laugh. And it's a great storyline. I think a lot of times we are living in a time where we need good storylines, because sometimes you watch stuff and you're like, what is this? Like, why am I wasting my time watching this? It will not be a waste of your time. And if you love music, it's definitely something that you want to watch.
When you're not outside, and I always say you have to code switch because people know who you are. And social media is ready to write anything, whether they see you at the store, standing in line, how you look, whatever. What do you do to stay humble?
You know what? It's my circle of friends and my family. They keep me grounded, and also remembering where I came from and how long it took to get here and the journey. I think a lot of times people forget what it took, and they strike gold and they're like, they forget all the things that it took to get there. Those are the things that really keep me grounded. But for sure, having the right people around you, it makes all the difference in the world.
Well said. Crystal, it's been a pleasure speaking with you. Congrats on the role. Congrats on the series. Obviously, when it comes to Tyler Perry, there's no end in sight. We're gonna, his average is at least 7 seasons.
Yeah, yes, yes.
We got job security for a good time being. But either way, get back on the big screen so that way we can see more of you. And like I said, congratulations, and I'll talk to you down the road on your next project.
Thank you so much, Wilson. It was a pleasure.
Take care.
You too. Bye-bye.